The world screams, but the truth whispers. And you have missed it because you were listening for the thunder when God was speaking in the stillness between your heartbeats. You are waiting for a sign, a billboard, a catastrophic shifting of the earth to tell you which way to walk. Yet the map has already been placed gently within your chest, waiting for the moment you stop running long enough to read it. There is a noise in your life right now, a chaotic static of opinions, fears, debts, expectations, and the relentless pressure to be something other than what you are. And this noise has become so deafening that you have forgotten the sound of your own soul. You pretend you are fine, you smile at the neighbors, you go through the motions of your daily rituals, but deep inside, in that private chamber where no one else is allowed to enter, you are aching for something real. You are aching for a witness. You are starving for a word that does not come from a screen, but from the source. Joseph Smith, a boy of only 14 years, stood on the precipice of this exact feeling, surrounded by a world that was loud with contradiction, where everyone shouted, "Lo, here," and "Lo, there," claiming to possess the monopoly on truth, yet leaving his mind in a state of fractured confusion. He felt the weight of the universe pressing on his shoulders, an urgent need to know where he stood in the cosmos, and perhaps you feel that today. A desperate, clawing need to know if you are on the right path, if you are loved, if your struggle has meaning. But listen closely to this principle, for it is the key that unlocks the door you have been pounding on. Revelation rarely shouts. It whispered first to a boy in the trees, and it is whispering to you now, but you must learn the language of silence if you ever hope to hear it. If you are ready to stop the noise and hear the voice that has been calling your name since before you were born, if you are ready to step into your own sacred grove, write the word "ready" in the comments right now, not for me, but as a signal to your own spirit that you are done with the confusion. We live in an age that is terrified of silence, an age that fills every gap with sound because we are afraid of what we might hear if the noise stops. Yet it is in that terrified silence that the divine waits. Joseph described his mind as being excited and agitated by the cries of the revivalists, a perfect mirror to the modern mind scrolling through infinite feeds of information, paralyzed by the sheer volume of choices. The paralysis you feel is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of spiritual overload, a signal that your receiving mechanism is jammed by the frequencies of the world. The first step toward the whisper is the deliberate act of withdrawal, the conscious decision to walk away from the crowd, to leave the axe in the stump, to turn off the device, and to find a place where the only opinion that matters is the one that comes from above. You must understand that confusion is often the precursor to revelation, that the agitation you feel is not a punishment but a catalyst, forcing you to seek a quiet place because the noise has become unbearable. Consider the courage it takes to trust a feeling over a fact, to trust a quiet nudge over a shouting crowd. The world operates on logic, on data, on visible proof, yet the spiritual life operates on a frequency that bypasses the intellect and speaks directly to the intelligence of the heart. When Joseph entered that grove of trees, he did not go with a distinct plan of what he would see. He went with a specific question of what he should do, and there is a profound difference. Many of you are asking to see the end from the beginning, demanding a full roadmap of your life before you will take a single step, but the whisper only gives you light enough for the step you are on. The whisper says, "Go here, say this, wait, move." It does not explain the 10-year plan. It demands the faith of the immediate moment. This is why it is so quiet, because it requires you to lean in, to pay attention, to strip away the arrogance of assuming you know better. The quiet voice is a humbling voice. It does not compete with your ego. It waits for your ego to exhaust itself so that it can finally be heard. There is a rhythm to this divine communication, a cadence that mimics the rising of the sun rather than the striking of lightning. We want the lightning because it is instant and undeniable, but the sun rises gradually, dispelling the darkness degree by degree, until the perfect day. Joseph Smith later taught that the Spirit acts as pure intelligence, flowing into you, giving you sudden strokes of ideas. Have you felt that? A sudden clarity in the middle of confusion? A sudden peace in the middle of a storm? That is the whisper. It feels like a memory, like something you have always known but had temporarily forgotten. It resonates with a truth that is already vibrating within your spiritual DNA. The tragedy is that we often dismiss these sudden strokes as our own imagination, or we rationalize them away because they do not fit the logical narrative we have constructed for our safety. We kill the revelation with our analysis. We suffocate the whisper with our doubt. But understand this: before the voice comes, the opposition often arrives first. This is a law of spiritual physics that few speak of, yet it is the barrier that stops most people just inches from their breakthrough. As Joseph knelt to offer up the desires of his heart, he was immediately seized by some power which entirely overcame him, binding his tongue so that he could not speak. Thick darkness gathered around him, and it seemed to him for a time as if he were doomed to sudden destruction. You know this feeling. It is the panic attack that hits when you decide to change your life. It is the sudden wave of depression that crashes over you the moment you commit to a higher path. It is the chaos that erupts in your family the week you decide to focus on peace. The adversary does not waste ammunition on empty vessels. If you are meeting resistance, it is because you are close to the treasure. The darkness is not a sign to turn back. It is the final gate before the light. When you feel that binding influence, that heaviness that makes it hard to think or pray or hope, you are standing on sacred ground, though it feels like a battlefield. This is the moment where the whisper is most critical, yet hardest to hear. You must learn to exert all your powers to call upon God to deliver you, not just for the sake of relief, but for the sake of the revelation that is waiting on the other side of the darkness. The enemy of your soul knows that if you break through that layer of resistance, you will access a level of truth that will make you dangerous to his kingdom of confusion. So he shouts. He screams fear into your mind. He amplifies your insecurities. He reminds you of every sin you have ever committed, all to drown out the whisper that is about to say, "You are my beloved." Do not mistake the silence of God for the absence of God. In the moments before the pillar of light descended, Joseph was alone in the grip of the enemy, or so it seemed. But he was not alone. The silence was the breath held before the exhale of heaven. In your life, when the answers aren't coming, when the prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling, when you are doing everything right and everything is going wrong, you are in the until. You are in the space of active waiting. This is where your spiritual capacity is stretched. If God answered every prayer instantly with a thunderclap, you would be a spoiled child, not a divine heir. The silence forces you to listen deeper, to tune your soul to a frequency that is not of this world. Purifies your intent. It transforms "I want" into "Thy will." The whisper of revelation is often counterintuitive. It tells you to forgive when you want revenge. It tells you to stay when you want to run, or to leave when you are comfortable. It disrupts the status quo of your life because it is trying to align you with an eternal reality that your mortal eyes cannot see. Joseph was told that all the sects were wrong, a truth that upended his entire social and religious world. The whisper will upend you. It will ask you to sacrifice things you think you need. It will ask you to walk paths that look lonely. But here is the promise. The loneliness of the walk with God is richer than the companionship of 1,000 compromising crowds. When you hear the whisper and obey it, you unlock a power that the world cannot give and cannot take away. You become a person of sound understanding, anchored in something permanent. Let us go deeper into the nature of this quiet communication. It is not always words. Sometimes the whisper is a feeling of pure love that washes over you, dissolving your anxiety. Sometimes it is a mental image, a flash of a face you need to call, or a scripture that jumps off the page and burns in your chest. Sometimes it is simply a blockage, a stupor of thought that prevents you from making a mistake. Joseph learned to recognize all these modes. He learned that the Spirit of God is like a fluid, adapting to the shape of the vessel. If you are rigid, it cannot flow. You must become soft, malleable, open. You must be willing to be wrong about what you thought was right. This is the humility of the grove. It is the posture of the student who knows nothing, kneeling before the teacher who knows all. The quiet voice is easily drowned out by the appetites of the body. When we are full of food, full of entertainment, full of stimulation, our spiritual senses are dulled. There is a reason fasting is connected to revelation. It quiets the body so the spirit can speak. It creates a hunger that only truth can fill. You do not need to starve yourself, but you do need to hunger. You need to want the truth more than you want comfort. Joseph's prayer was driven by a desperate hunger for salvation, for knowledge of his standing before God. Are you that hungry? Or are you merely curious? The whisper answers the hungry. It ignores the casual tourist. If you approach the divine with a casual question, you will get a silent wall. But if you approach with a broken heart and a contrite spirit, with a soul that is trembling with need, the heavens will eventually open. And when they do, it may not look like a pillar of light descending brighter than the sun. For you, it may look like a sudden dissolving of a grudge you've held for 10 years. It may look like the strength to get out of bed when you are crushed by grief. It may look like an idea for a business that helps others. Revelation is practical. It is meant to guide your hands as well as your heart. Joseph was guided in how to organize, how to build, how to lead. The whisper cares about your daily struggles. It cares about your marriage, your children, your work. It is not limited to high theology. It flows into the cracks of your mundane existence and fills them with light. But you must invite it in. You must create the space. The structure of your life dictates the volume of the revelation you receive. If your life is built on rush and hurry, you have built a soundproof wall against heaven. Be still and know that I am God. The stillness is the prerequisite for the knowing. This is why the morning is often the time of the whisper, before the world has woken up to scream its demands, or the deep of the night when the house is quiet. Find your time. Find your grove. It might be your car. It might be a closet. It might be a walk in the woods. The location matters less than the intention. You are signaling to the universe that you are listening. And when you listen, really listen, without an agenda, without trying to force the answer to be what you want it to be, you will hear it. It will come as a still, small voice, piercing to the very center. This voice is the only thing that can heal the trauma of your past and the anxiety of your future. Psychological tools are useful, but spiritual revelation is transformational. It rewrites the code of your identity. It told a farm boy he was a prophet. It can tell you that you are a son or daughter of the Most High, with a work to do that no one else can accomplish. That is the ultimate message of the whisper: identity and purpose. The world tries to assign you a value based on your productivity or your appearance. The whisper assigns you a value based on your eternal heritage. Once you hear that, once you really know it, the screaming of the world becomes irrelevant. It becomes background noise that you can turn off at will. But the journey does not end with hearing. Hearing is only the beginning. After the vision, Joseph had to stand up and walk back into the world that was still just as loud and confusing as before. He had to carry the fire without letting it go out. He had to endure mockery, persecution, and betrayal. He said, "I have seen a vision. I knew it, and I knew that God knew it, and I could not deny it." This is the test of the whisper. Can you hold on to it when everyone else tells you you are crazy? Can you hold on to the quiet truth in the face of loud lies? The integrity of your soul depends on your loyalty to the whisper. If you betray what you have heard in the silence to please the crowd, you fracture your own spirit. But if you stand firm, if you say, "I have heard," then you become a pillar of light yourself. The whisper also connects us to one another. When you are listening to the Spirit, you will hear the silent cries of those around you. You will know when to reach out, when to speak a word of encouragement, when to simply sit with someone in their pain. You become an instrument of the whisper for others. This is the spirit of prophecy that is available to everyone, not just those in high office, the ability to speak the truth of God into the life of another because you are tuned into the same frequency. Imagine a world where we all stopped screaming and started listening. Imagine the harmony. Starts with you. It starts with this moment. There is a principle of line upon line that governs this quiet communication. You will not get the whole encyclopedia of truth in one download. You will get a sentence. If you live that sentence, you will get a paragraph. If you live that paragraph, you will get a chapter. Many are stuck in silence because they haven't acted on the last whisper they heard. They are asking for step 10 when they haven't taken step 1. If the heavens seem like brass, ask yourself, what was the last thing God told me to do that I haven't done yet? Go back. Do that thing. The frequency will clear up. Obedience is the fine-tuning dial of the spiritual radio. The more you align your actions with the whisper, the clearer the voice becomes, until it is a constant companion, a comforter that abides with you. Joseph Smith taught that God hath not revealed anything to Joseph, but what he will make known unto the 12. And even the least saint may know all things as fast as he is able to bear them. This is a radical democratization of revelation. The whisper is not reserved for the elite. It is for the least saint. It is for the addict trying to get clean. It is for the mother weeping over a wayward child. It is for the businessman facing bankruptcy. It is for the student drowning in doubt. It is for you. The only requirement is the capacity to bear it. And how do you increase that capacity? By bearing the little that is given now. By cherishing the small promptings. By writing them down. By treating them as sacred. When you treat the whisper with reverence, it grows. When you ignore it, it withdraws. This is why gratitude is so powerful. When you thank God for the small insights, the tender mercies, you are affirming the relationship. You are telling the divine, I heard you, and I thank you. This opens the channel wider. Conversely, cynicism clogs the channel. Cynicism is the earwax of the soul. It blocks the sound by assuming there is nothing to hear. You must choose to be open, to be vulnerable, to be willing to be surprised. The nature of this voice is that it speaks peace to the soul. Did I not speak peace to your mind concerning the matter? That is the signature of God. Even when the message is a warning or a call to repentance, the underlying frequency is peace. The devil's voice is jagged, anxious, rushing, accusatory. God's voice is firm, clear, settling, expanding. Learn to feel the difference. If a thought makes you feel small, worthless, and frantic, it is not the whisper. If a thought makes you feel capable, loved, and focused, it is the whisper. Discernment is the art of tasting the fruit of the thoughts that enter your mind. As you practice this, as you cultivate the quiet, you will find that the grove is not a place you go to visit. It is a place you carry within you. You can be in the middle of a crowded city, in a chaotic meeting, in a traffic jam, and still hear the whisper because your internal receiver is tuned. You become a portable sanctuary. This is the ultimate freedom. No one can cut you off from the source because the connection is internal. They can take your Bible, they can close your church, they can mock your faith, but they cannot silence the whisper in your soul. There is a moment coming for you. Perhaps it is today, perhaps it is next week, where you will face a crossroads. The noise will be at its peak. The pressure to conform will be crushing. In that moment, remember the boy in the trees. Remember that the answer did not come from the experts or the debaters. It came from the silence above. Dare to pause. Dare to close your eyes. Dare to ask. And then wait. Wait for the feeling that settles the heart. Wait for the thought that brings light. It will come. It always comes to those who wait with purpose. And when it comes, it will not shout. It will not force you. It will invite you. Come, follow me. This is the way, walk ye in it. It is a gentle invitation to greatness. It is the voice of your potential calling to your reality. It is the voice of the Father calling you home. Do not settle for the shouting of the world. It is sound and fury, signifying nothing. Seek the whisper. It is the only thing that endures. Reflect on the times you have missed the whisper because you were looking for the dramatic. How many accidents have you walked into because you ignored the check in your spirit? How many relationships have caused you pain because you ignored the quiet red flag at the beginning? We often blame God for not speaking, when in reality He spoke, but we didn't like what He said, so we pretended we didn't hear it. The whisper is truth, and truth can be uncomfortable. It requires honesty. It requires you to look in the mirror and admit where you are broken. But it is a healing honesty. The shout of the world flatters you to your face and mocks you behind your back. The whisper corrects you to your face and defends you behind your back. There is a profound intimacy in this quiet communication. It implies a relationship. You don't whisper to strangers. You shout at them. You whisper to those you are close to. You whisper secrets, longings, promises. The fact that God whispers to you is proof of your closeness to Him. He is nearer than hands and feet. The veil between you and heaven is thinner than you think. It is often just a thin membrane of distraction. Pierce the distraction and you are there. The restoration of the gospel began with a question and a quiet answer. Your personal restoration begins the same way. What is the question that is haunting your soul? Don't suppress it. Don't drown it in entertainment. Bring it to the light. Bring it to the silence. The adversary tries to convince you that you are unworthy of the whisper, that you have made too many mistakes, that the heavens are sealed to you. This is the thick darkness trying to bind your tongue again. But the light of the first vision shattered that lie forever. It showed that God speaks to the imperfect, to the young, to the seeking. If a farm boy with little education can receive the fullness of the gospel, surely you can receive guidance for your day. You are not disqualified. Your brokenness is not a barrier. It is the crack where the light gets in. The whisper is especially tender to the brokenhearted. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart. If you are broken, you are in the perfect position to hear. Think of the patience of the whisper. It repeats itself. It is persistent. If you missed it yesterday, it will try again today. It is the hound of heaven, pursuing you with a relentless, quiet love. It does not give up on you. Even when you are running in the opposite direction, the whisper is there, calling you back. Turn around. Come home. You are more than this. It is the voice of your better self, the voice of the Spirit testifying of who you really are. As you move forward from this moment, make a covenant with yourself to protect your quiet. Guard your mornings. Guard your evenings. Create boundaries around your soul. Do not let the sewage of the world's anger flow unfiltered into your mind. Be selective about what you watch, what you read, who you listen to. Every input affects your ability to hear the output of heaven. If you fill your mind with garbage, you will get static. If you fill your mind with virtuous, lovely, or of good report things, you amplify the signal. We are approaching a time when, as President Nelson has said, it will not be possible to survive spiritually without the guiding, directing, comforting, and constant influence of the Holy Ghost. The shouting of the world is only going to get louder. The confusion is going to get thicker. The deceptions are going to get more subtle. Only those who know the sound of the whisper will be able to navigate the minefield. This is not just about spiritual luxury. It is about spiritual survival. You need the whisper to know where to stand when the ground shakes. So stand in your grove, whether it is a literal spot in nature or a quiet corner of your room. Stand there until the darkness disperses. Stand there until the fear subsides. Stand there until you feel the warmth of the light. It may not happen instantly. You may have to wrestle. You may have to wait. But the promise is sure. Ask and ye shall receive. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. The door is not locked on God's side. It is only closed because we are too busy to turn the handle. Turn the handle. Open the door. The silence is waiting to speak. The voice that spoke to Joseph is the same voice that speaks to you. It is the voice of the same God, yesterday, today, and forever. He has not changed. His methods have not changed. He is a God who speaks. He is a God who whispers. And he has something to say to you right now. Something that will change everything. Are you listening? The silence is not empty. It is full. It is heavy with glory. It is waiting for your attention. Give it your attention. Give it your heart. And you will find that the revelation you have been shouting for has been whispering your name all along. Stay in this feeling. Do not rush to the next video. Do not rush to the comments yet. Just sit. Breathe. Listen. What is the thought that is rising in you right now? What is the feeling that is settling in your chest? That is it. That is the beginning. Hold it. Trust it. Follow it. This is the pattern. This is the path. This is the way the heavens open, not with a shout, but with a whisper. And now that you know, you can never claim that God is silent again. He is speaking. The question is, are you finally quiet enough to hear? If you have felt the whisper during this message, if you have felt the stillness return to your soul, then you know this is true. You have your witness. Now go and live by it. Walk in the light of the fire you have kindled. And when the darkness tries to gather again, and it will, remember this moment. Remember that the light is stronger than the dark, and the whisper is stronger than the shout. You are called to be a listener in a world of screamers. You are called to be a calm center in a world of storms. It is a high calling. It is a holy calling, and you are ready for it. The darkness before your calling has passed. The dawn is breaking. The whisper is speaking. Listen, just listen, and you will know. Stay until the seventh insight. It's the one meant for you today. Deep in the fiber of your being, there is a resonance that recognizes truth. It is ancient. It is older than your physical body. When Joseph Smith described the sensation of pure intelligence, he was describing the activation of this eternal memory. You are not a blank slate. You are an eternal being with a history that predates this earth. The whisper is not teaching you something entirely new. It is reminding you of something you agreed to long ago. This is why it feels like home. This is why, when you hear truth, your heart burns within you. It is the recognition of a familiar friend. This seventh insight is crucial because it shifts your perspective from seeking to remembering. You are not desperately searching for a God who is hiding. You are reconnecting with a Father you once knew perfectly. The veil of forgetfulness is placed over us for a reason, to test our agency, but the whisper is the thread that connects us through the veil. Every time you heed a prompting, you thin the veil. Every time you act on faith, you pull the thread tighter, bringing you closer to the reality of your premortal bond. Consider the implications of this. If you are remembering, then the answers are, in a sense, already inside you, unlocked by the Spirit. The kingdom of God is within you. The external revelation triggers the internal recognition. This empowers you. It means you don't need to run to every guru or expert to tell you who you are. You need to go to the author of your soul, who holds the blueprint, and ask him to reveal it to you again. The world wants you to believe you are an accident of biology, a consumer, a vote, a statistic. The whisper tells you that you are a God in embryo. The gap between those two identities is infinite. The noise of the world is designed to keep you in the small identity. The silence of the Spirit is designed to awaken the great identity. This is the war. The war for your attention is really a war for your identity. If the adversary can keep you distracted, he can keep you small. If he can keep you listening to the shout, he can keep you from the power of the whisper. But you have the power to switch the channel. It is a choice you make every minute of every day. What will I listen to? Who will I believe? The agency to choose your focus is the greatest power you possess. Joseph exercised that agency when he walked into the woods. He chose to tune out the revivalists and tune in to God. You must make that same choice. It is the choice that defines a prophet, and it is the choice that defines a disciple. The path of the listener is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires the courage to be different. But the fruit is sweet. It is the fruit of the tree of life, precious above all others. It is the taste of pure love, pure meaning, pure purpose. Once you have tasted it, the artificial sweeteners of the world lose their appeal. You will crave the silence. You will protect the grove. You will organize your life around the whisper. And in doing so, you will become a light. You won't have to shout to be heard. Your presence will speak. Your peace will scream. People will look at you and wonder why you aren't afraid, why you aren't frantic, why you aren't swayed by every wind of doctrine. And you will tell them, I found a quiet place, and I listened. This is your legacy. This is your birthright. Do not sell it for a mess of pottage. Do not trade the whisper of the eternal for the shout of the temporary. You are in the darkness before your calling? No. You are in the darkness before your answering. The call has already been sent. The phone is ringing in the empty hall of your heart. Pick it up, answer, and let the conversation begin. This is the wisdom of the grove. It is the wisdom of the ages, and it is yours right now in this breath. Be still, and know.